Yep, whenever you're ready.
Wait. You may all know I, Meriwether Lewis,
And I, William Clark.
as the men who led the exploration across the Louisiana Territory. But what led us to this point in this accomplishment in our lives is a different tale. In 1994, I joined the Army. Growing up, I had a father who was in the Army, and this influenced me to take that same path. During my time in the Army, I felt I had two of the greatest occasions ever. First, I got to meet my great friend, William Clark. And second, I got to renew bonds with an old friend of mine, Thomas Jefferson. We kept talking we knew each other since I was a young boy, so meeting him once again was something great. We stayed in contact, and in 1801, he called me and asked me to be his private secretary. Of course, I accepted, and I became his private secretary, and he tutored me. And I thought it was something great, and this new knowledge that I gained from him helped me throughout my journey in exploring the Louisiana Territory. In 1803, he successfully bought the Louisiana Territory, and he was anxious to learn about this new land, so he planned an exploration. And he offered me a great position in this journey, and I was to be the leader. We started planning, and as soon as I realized how much work had to be done, I wrote to my friend William Clark.
When I received Meriwether Lewis's letter, I was thrilled because after my father died, I was the one who had to take care of the family plantation. I didn't do anything, basically. It wasn't until he sent me the letter that he wanted to invite me. Growing up, I was raised in a household full of American Revolutionary heroes and soldiers, so I was given the example that I should serve my country. And joining the expedition was going to be a great way of doing so. Finally, after a year of preparation and recruiting men, on May 1804, we departed from St. Louis and started our expedition. We faced many challenges and we encountered many rivals. An unforgettable rival were the Teton Sioux tribe. They were quite manipulative. Everything was going good until one of the chiefs disrespected me, and I wasn't going to tolerate that. So I drew my sword, and they drew their bows and arrows, and that was when Meriwether came to my rescue.
I saw my friend's life being threatened, and we were friendly people. I wasn't going to tolerate them threatening his life and threatening my men's life around me. So I told my men to prepare fire, and they did. As soon as the Indians saw what I did, they knew they couldn't withstand our weaponry, and they withdrew.
The following day, they invited us to a feast. There they had 400 pounds of roast beef and roast dog and buffalo. It was the best meat around. We were having a great time until one of the Teton prisoners informed us that the Sioux tribe was planning on ending our expedition the following day.
Getting this new information, once again, I wouldn't tolerate them threatening our expedition and our whole journey. We confronted them, and they responded by drawing their bows and arrows, and I responded by telling our men to prepare fire. Once again, they knew they wouldn't be able to withstand our strong weaponry, and they withdrew. The following day, we continued with our journey, hoping not to ever face a situation like this again. One of the blessings that came along the journey was coming upon the Mandan. We heard from other tribes that they were quite friendly, but we wouldn't be able to know this until we came upon them. And once we did, they were quite indeed friendly, and they were welcoming. They welcomed us into their territory, and knowing winter was about to arrive, they let us build shelters. And this we called Fort Mandan.
We met a Mandan member named Charbonneau, and he wanted to serve as an interpreter for the expedition. We gladly accepted when we found out that he knew many Indian languages.
He also asked if his wife, Sacagawea, could come along the journey. We accepted, knowing that later on in the journey she would be able to help us gain horses and we created a trade or buy horses off our old tribe with Shoshone. And indeed we did later on in the journey when we came upon the tribe.
Finally, on November 1805, we arrived at the Pacific Ocean. The beautiful view was mesmerizing. We finally had made it. We needed shelter, so we built Fort Clatsop. We encountered more Native American tribes and befriended more Native American tribes and discovered new animal and plant species. And in the spring of 1806, we finally left Fort Clatsop.
We arrived back in St. Louis in the spring of 1806. And everyone around us was happy to see us. We were treated as national heroes. I was glad I was back home, and everyone around us was just praising us.
All the praise was quite odd. The recognition, I believe, was unnecessary.
And for the expedition, we got double pay. We got land grants, and I got named governor of the Upper Louisiana Territory. Once we have arrived, we knew that scientific knowledge had grown thanks to us, thanks to our exploration. New animals were found, plants, this new land was explored. And we knew that we increased the scientific knowledge, and everyone around us knew that too. After we arrived, as my life away from the frontier started to go downhill, I never published my journals in this angered Jefferson. I never finished that work. I was late to being governor, taking charge of my duties as governor of the Upper Louisiana Territory. And this created even more problems with my friend Jefferson. I was late to that, and then now I had drinking problems too. All of this was just circling around my head, and I just felt I couldn't take it anymore, but I knew I had to make it right. I went to travel to Washington to try to make amends with my friends and try to make things right from all the situation that I had built. I stopped in Tennessee on a fort, and there all these problems were just dwelling in my head, and I couldn't take it anymore. Drinking problems with my old friend Jefferson, all this disappointments around me. I disappointed my friends, and I disappointed myself. I committed suicide on October 12, 1809. Those are my last actions, but I left the whole journey of my life behind.
After the expedition, I had mourned my best friend's death. He was gone too soon. I also had a family. I got married, obviously. I took care of Native American affairs. And on August 1st, 1838, I died of natural causes. I died content knowing that I had served my country well. The corpse of discovery and I had made history.
So you guys, did anyone die on this expedition?
Yeah,
Only one.
He was the first one who died, and
he was already.
Okay.